Hello, Scorpio. Welcome. I'm Ryan. Thank you for being here. It's going to be a general reading, so of course everything may not resonate. Take what does and leave the rest. And for more tarot readings after this, please check out my wife's channel, Val33 Tarot, which is review as well. Thank you. All right, let's see what's going on. Whoa. One more. All right, jumping into this. What you do, show me. You're showing up very driven to search for something. I don't know what this search or yearning for is, but ultimately you're kind of showing me, well, I showed up, I'm confident. I don't exactly know which direction I want to go or which direction I kind of feel called to go in, but let me consider my options. And so as you're going through your considerations, I do see, unfortunately, it's almost like this huge, how do I say this? It's a huge letdown and disappointment. It's like all this energy, all this drive, all this passion, all this excitement to find something. You're kind of like, this is it. Even though there's something there, you're kind of like, this is it. And it's interesting. It's almost like it's like inside the mind of a Scorpio. Your perspective, or your mindset of how you view things is like, no, I'm not happy with any of this. And even though there is something there, I'm not too sure exactly what to do with it either way. And you're like, you know what? Let me just kind of sit back, hang out, and see what I can kind of come up with on my own. And this is interesting because you do come up with something on your own. And you're like, this is more like it. You kind of like, this is a direction I'll kind of go in. Okay, so something does work out for you. You're kind of saying that might not be the way, but I have a better way. I have a better idea. You're showing me 777. What was that about? Okay. Jeez. It feels like you're starting it. It does. And so what's interesting is as you're kind of like formulating some sort of plan as to how to come out and move forward with this idea, it seems like you're doing it you're doing it anyways. But ultimately there is some sort of communication taking place between you and someone and kind of keeping them in the loop on this about you wanting to start this. And what's nice about as you start this, it kind of has a strong belief system attached to it. But it almost kind of seems and feels like work, like either new work, new job, new career, whatever this is. Maybe new content or niche, don't know. But at the same time, you're kind of like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I kind of have to, dedicate and devote myself to this and kind of just let it be and do what I got to do. It's interesting because you're kind of like saying, well, once I make that decision to accept this or not accept this, job or position or line of work, whatever it is, I can kind of just put that aside and no longer have to stress or worry about that. Oh, goodness gracious, Scorpio. Goodness gracious. You're like, now that's one, you're like showing me that was part one. Now here's part two. Okay, we'll go with it. Oh my goodness. About part two. That is definitely a line of work for you. Now, what you're kind of showing me is a relationship or a connection between you and someone. Possibly a connection with someone that you live with. Yeah, you're like about that. This feels like I have to say it. It almost kind of seems and feels like your escape plan. There's an energy here where the living situation, you very well know that it's not cutting it anymore. And there's just something about it. There's just something about it, or there's something about them. There's something about the living situation. I don't exactly know what it is, but you're showing me it. How do I say this? It is what it is. It's beginning to take over, Scorpio. It's beginning to take over your mind. And you know what I mean. And you know this. It makes you feel very uneasy. It makes you feel very uncomfortable. It causes you to feel very like, I'm looking at 444. Also 555. So 444, 555, and 777. Pretty much the signs are written on the wall, huh? And you're kind of saying, you know what? I'm going through it because of this overall situation or living situation or possibly this connection or relationship between me and them. And I'm just waiting to bounce because things are becoming so problematic that you're looking, like I said, you're looking for your exit. Actually, there's the fourth five. Goodness. I'd be careful with that energy, by the way. Yeah, you're realizing that it needs to end. It needs to end. You're like, yeah, there's so many problems and issues. Literally, you would. Here's a funny joke. You'd think people or things were flying around. But okay, so it could just be the living situation. Now, whatever that connection is, I do see and feel like, that's something that will last. Because ultimately what you're kind of saying is that connection between the two of you are ultimately trying to figure out what to do. What happened? What'd you get? What'd you play around with? Of course, if you are dealing with anybody, which you clearly are, you could be dealing with a fire sign, an air sign, an earth sign. And that is all. Goodbye.